You're listening to KPG 66.5, Dinosaur Talk Radio, your favorite prehistoric podcast for research, entertainment, and all things dinosaurs.
Welcome, dinosaur fans. I hope everybody is having an amazing day. And you guys, I'm your host, Dinosaur Ranger Anthony, and we are live from right here inside of the Dino Bus Studios, ready to kick off podcast number, what are we up to now? Podcast number 19. And today we're talking about the legend of the sauropods. Some of my favorite dinosaurs, just like on my shirt right here, you guys. But anyway, you're listening to KPG 66.5 Dinosaur Talk Radio, your favorite prehistoric podcast for research, entertainment, and all things dinosaurs. We're ready to talk all about dinosaurs, specifically the sauropods, those long-necked dinosaurs. They're so majestic. I just wish we could ride on a sauropod. How much fun would that be? But you guys, today is Friday, March 27th, and we are having, it's a little bit cold today, you guys. We are in spring. This last week really felt like spring when I got up to like 84 on Tuesday. But we're in a little bit of a cold right now, but we're hoping for some warmer weather coming up very soon. The grass is turning the green, the trees are starting to bud. It is definitely becoming the spring season, and we're getting all kinds of life growing. But you guys, my week this week, I had 3 shows on Monday. I went to St. Stephen the Martyr Catholic School, and I did 3 shows for their preschool and pre-K kids. Had so much fun. It was totally amazing, and it even meant a little bit more because that's a church that my family and I go to. So it was super cool doing a show for them. So shout out to those guys. We had an awesome time, and we'll be back there later for the last Fish Fry tonight. Then you guys, I had my Patreon lesson on Wednesday. So my Patreon kids and I, we did a lesson on coloring dinosaur eggs. So I taught them all about dinosaur eggs, the 2 major groups. We talked about dinosaur colors. We talked all things dinosaur eggs. And then I even had the kids, they were able to color their own dinosaur eggs during our Patreon lesson. And if you're interested about that, I should drop that into a plug later on. But I got a Patreon club where you can go do virtual lessons with me, where you can interact one-on-one with me and some of the other Patreon Junior Dinosaur Rangers. And we just have an awesome time. Then you guys, this week, I've been working on my show props. So if you've heard from past episodes, you guys, I'm working on The Tale of America's Greatest Dinosaur. And that is my new show for this summer. So I'm totally ready to kick it off, you guys. I'm getting all the props bought so that we can have some new stuff, some new gear for this summer, and a little bit of a sneak peek. I'll let you guys in on something very, very secretive. So today I bought a Ankylosaurus club tail replica. So that is coming all the way from the UK, you guys, coming to Omaha, Nebraska, and I'll be able to use it for all my shows this summer as we talk about the tale of America's greatest dinosaur. Who is it? Is it the Ankylosaurus? Is it Triceratops? Is it the Maiasaur, Edmontosaurus? Or maybe a meat-eating dinosaur, the Tyrant Lizard King? But anyways, you guys, I've been working on the show all week, getting things kind of written up, getting new segments started. I want more audience interaction. So the audience is always interacting, but I should say it this way. I want more chances for readers and kids to be able to come up on stage with me and do all kinds of fun dinosaur segments. So I believe I've got 5 main segments where I'll be able to bring a reader or a student up onto the stage with me and be able to do some kind of fun dinosaur experiment. And I won't give too much away, but it's going to be super, super fun. Then you guys, my show count this week. So I always like to update you guys on my count. I'm up to 195 events booked for this year, and 139 of them are for this summer alone. So it is just going to be wild. Complete madness, you guys. But let's go ahead and drop a quick plug in. This week's episode, you guys, as we're talking about the legend of the sauropods, our podcast plug is brought to you by Long Neck Canopy Crew. Leaf it to the sauropods. Did you get that? Instead of leave it to the sauropods, it's leaf it to the sauropods, the long neck canopy crew, and that is who is bringing our podcast to us today. Those famous dinosaurs munching on all kinds of trees back during the Mesozoic era. But you guys, let's go ahead and jump into our first segment of the day. If you're new watching, we do 3 segments here right now currently on the I almost said dinosaur review for kids. That was my first podcast. But you guys, this one we got 3 segments, and the first one is Steggy's Pizza. We're going to see what one fun fact, you guys, we're going to get from the pizza boxes back there behind me and see what kind of fun fact we've got for today, okay? So let me grab a few things here, and we will go ahead and get our dinosaur fun fact. So in here, you guys, I got 12 pizza slices, probably down to 10 now. But you guys, one fact, everybody knows the rules. In here, Godfather's Pizza. By the way, they're coming with so here's the old Godfather. So I believe he was the second Godfather of Godfather's Pizza. He retired. They got a new Godfather coming. So they've been dropping all kinds of fun Facebook videos, and I just can't wait to see who the new Godfather is at Godfather's Pizza. But let's go ahead, you guys, grab one slice from Steggy's Pizza Box, and let's see what we got. Ooh, this one's too good to be true. Now, you guys, Spinosaurus may have been the largest meat eater ever discovered. That's right, the Spinosaurus aegypticus, you guys, up to 23 feet high, 46 to 50 feet long, could possibly be the biggest theropod, the biggest meat eater ever discovered of the dinosaurs. Isn't that just wild? As long as it stays walking on 2 legs. We don't want to see this 4-legged Dimetrodon sort of like Spinosaurus, okay? Spinosaurus needs to stay walking on 2 legs. We need it to be just like a T-Rex, but with a sail on its back and a crocodilian-like snout. And maybe it can keep the fish-like tail, but we'll see, okay? And remember, if we talked about a few weeks ago, we even have the Spinosaurus mirabilis, remember, with that unicorn's horn up there on top of his head. But that's our Spinosaurus fun fact. Spinosaurus may have been the largest meat eater ever discovered. That's just wild. And my favorite dinosaur, as a matter of fact, as well. But you guys, let's go ahead and we'll move on in to our legend of the sauropods. So we're going to talk all about the sauropods here today. Now, I wanted to do something a little bit differently than I did for the theropods a few weeks ago. So when we did the theropods, we were breaking out theropod families. We were just diving straight into all the different theropod families. I even learned a little bit. But you guys, it was just tons and tons of branches and tree limbs and twigs and all kinds. We were getting lost in the webbing, okay? So I broke this one up into a little bit. Let's talk about the sauropods first. So the biggest animals ever to walk on Earth are the sauropods. You guys, those ginormous quadrupedal herbivores with long necks and tails. So let's see if I move my computer here. Goodbye. You can see over here, I've got my sauropods sitting up there on top of the table. A Dreadnoughtus, a Mamenchisaurus. Who else is over there? Is it just those 2? Maybe, is it Diplodocus hanging out back there in the background? So I got a few sauropods over there in the dino bus here that are sitting on top of that display case right there. And they're right under the palm tree, so don't worry, they get properly fed every day here in the dino bus. But you guys, sauropods are the biggest animal to ever walk on Earth. The sauropods, you guys, are quadrupedal, so that means they're walking on 4 legs, and they're herbivores. They're eating all kinds of plants. And of course, we all know they've got those long necks and those long tails, right? They're looking for all kinds of food with those long necks as they're looking up there in the trees. They got those long tails back behind them, sort of like a counterbalance. They're balancing their big necks and their little head on top. The tails helping giving a good counterbalance as they're exploring all across their environment, okay? So sauropods, ginormous. They've got small heads up there on those long necks. Think of all the vertebrae, all those, their spine kind of going down through their neck, all those vertebrae, those backbones in their neck, down their back, down their tail, those 4 massive legs. So most of them, their back legs are longer than their front legs. But then think about Brachiosaurus. That one, its front legs are bigger than its back legs, which is why it's called the armed lizard. So we got all kinds of giant column-like legs for our sauropods, and not all of them are ginormous. You know, we love Brachiosaurus and Argentinosaurus and Apatosaurus, Mamenchisaurus, Dreadnoughtus, but maybe some like Ankylosaurus or Nigersaurus, they're way smaller, coming down more to the level of like Stegosaurus and some of the duck-billed dinosaurs. And can get even smaller with like the Mosasaurus, some basal prosauropods, some very early sauropods that started off really small because they didn't get ginormous from the very beginning, okay? But here, let me grab a few things here real quick as I'm in my YouTube, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning on in if you like to listen in live. I also, you guys, give a shout out to anybody that watches or listens, I should say, on any of the podcasting platforms later on. But here, let me update a few things here. Pop out my chat. Perfect. Gotta make sure to have the chat popped out so that I can see any comments coming into our live feed here on YouTube. But you guys, let's talk about their defense, okay? So we know they're quadrupedal, walking on four legs. We know they're herbivores. They've got long necks, long tails, bulky bodies, four column-like legs, small heads. Their eyesight probably doesn't have to be very good. They're not hunting. Very poor jaw muscles. They're swallowing everything whole, right? So what is their defense? Now, sauropods' main defense, their size. They're just ginormous, and we'll talk about some big sizes here in just a moment. We got the herd. They got the protection of the herd around them, and then their tail. We know like Diplodocus possibly using it as a little bit of a defense item, okay? So we got the size, the herd, and their tails. Now, nesting grounds, you guys, we found specifically down in South America, gives us a little bit of evidence of sauropod, long-necked dinosaurs living in all kinds of herds. Now, let's talk about their size. So how some of them got to be so big, or what are the sizes? So think of Brachiosaurus, Giraffatitan, Sauroposeidon. So those ones 50 to 60 feet tall. That's right, 50 to 60 feet high, you guys, for those Brachiosaurus, Giraffatitan, Sauroposeidon. That's 2 to 3 stories. So if it was right here at my house, its neck could be over the house, and they could maybe even go look into the top story windows of our house, huh? That's kind of creepy. Now think of other ones like Apatosaurus, Diplodocus, Argentinosaurus, Supersaurus. Those ones are more long. So we have long-necked sauropods that are tall, and we have some that are more long. So Apatosaurus, Diplodocus, Argentinosaurus, Supersaurus, 70 to 120 feet long. That could be up to 3, 4 school buses all in a row. That is the size of like our Argentinosaurus. That is just massive. Now, some other honorable mentions. I didn't want to go too much into the sauropod families, remember, like I mentioned. I wanted to give those sizes on those very tall ones and those very long ones, but some other honorable mentions, you guys. We've got Camarasaurus. We got the Nigersaurus, Amargasaurus, Saltosaurus, Bahatasaurus, Alamosaurus, Titanosaurus, Ankylosaurus, Dreadnoughtus, Seismosaurus, Rebachisaurus, and the Mamenchisaurus. All kinds of very famous sauropods, whether we see them in all kinds of books, movies, TV shows, all kinds of dinosaur things, okay? So they are just all so cool. Probably my most favorite dinosaur family if I had to pick just one dinosaur family, the sauropods. Brachiosaurus is definitely in my Mount Rushmore of dinosaurs. That would be a good Facebook post. My Mount Rushmore of dinosaurs. I gotta do that for sure. But you guys, all very cool dinosaurs. Should I do it really quick, 5 times fast? Brachiosaurus, Giraffatitan, Sauroposeidon, Apatosaurus, Diplodocus, Argentinosaurus, Supersaurus, Camarasaurus, Nigersaurus, Amargasaurus, Saltosaurus, Bahatasaurus, Alamosaurus, Titanosaurus, Ankylosaurus, Dreadnoughtus, Seismosaurus, Rebachisaurus, and Mamenchisaurus! I believe that was 19. I didn't plan on that, but this is episode 19, and I just named off 19 sauropods that I had here on my episode format. It was a sign, you guys. It was Perfect. All right, now let's talk about, you guys, how did they eat so much? They are hungry giants. They're looking for all kinds of food. They're constantly eating to be able to keep their bodies full. Imagine the diet. Imagine the salads. Imagine the ranch dressing they had to use. That would be bottles and bottles of ranch dressing. That would just be wild. Now remember, I mentioned earlier, some are tall, some are long. They shared the trees. The sauropods are sharing their environment. So when we might have some other of the genus or species living together, they're sharing their environment. Some eating tall trees way up there in the canopy. Others maybe eating some just more right there, just above, let me put it this way. Some of the sauropods, they're parallel with the ground. So if you don't know what parallel means, think of like two lines next to each other right here, like an equal sign. So you got two lines, one on top of the other one. They're both going in the same direction. That is parallel. So think of some sauropods have a parallel sort of body with the ground, or their neck is more parallel with the ground, rather than going straight up into the sky. So those ones are eating kind of more of the mid to low level branches, or the leaves, pine needles, whereas like Brachiosaurus eating stuff way up there in the top, okay? So we got things eating at the top, things eating in the middle, or more towards the bottom of the tree. So sauropods are helping each other in that way. Now they also didn't chew their food. That's right, they're not chewing any of those pine needles, you guys. They're raking the branches with their teeth. Remember, they could have pencil-shaped teeth or spoon-shaped teeth from last week's episode. They are raking the branches. Think of it. There's an evergreen tree right there. The sauropods, Brachiosaurus is right there, just raking all those pine needles right off the branches. That would be disgusting, huh? All kinds of sap getting under their tongues and whatnot. But they're raking the branches, the pine needles coming off. They don't have very well-developed jaw muscles. So sauropods, we don't believe, are essentially chewing their food like me and you do. So you guys, they're swallowing all that vegetation, and then they're using something called gastroliths. Gastroliths. Can you guys say gastroliths? So gastroliths, you guys, are the rocks in their belly, or the rocks, you guys, are jumbling all around in their gizzard, and you guys, that is grinding all the plant matter, you guys, and allowing them to digest their food, so they can be able to eat all kinds of food. They're constantly eating. They do not got time to chew. So you guys, they're just constantly eating all sorts of food and moving on to the next tree. Always eating. They are the hungry giants. So, okay, so far, we talked a little bit about what the sauropods are, right? Those long-necked dinosaurs that eat all kinds of plants. We talked about some that are really tall, some that are really long. We mentioned 19 of those sauropods off, and now we just mentioned them eating all kinds of food, right? They're not chewing. They're saving time on the chewing and constantly swallowing, eating more and more vegetation as those gastroliths, you guys, grind up all the plant matter and allow them to better digest their food. Imagine the dino dung from those guys. Picking up the backyard from my dog is bad enough. Think about picking it up from a sauropod dinosaur. You'd need a bulldozer and all kinds of construction equipment. But now, let's get into the secret of the long necks. AKA, we're going to talk about some legends of the sauropods. That's right, legends of the sauropods, you guys. So I've got 3 urban legends, 3 dinosaur legends of these massive creatures, okay? First up, their huge weight. How did these dinosaurs get to be so big? How were they able to walk around and not just be crushed by the massive weight of their huge bodies? There was even a theory once that long-necked dinosaurs only lived in the water, and their necks were so big, and that's how they got their heads out of the water so they could breathe, and the rest of their body was underwater so that their bodies wouldn't feel the effect of their massive bodies. Now, that has been thrown out of the water. Technically. So you guys, that has been disproven. Sauropods' bodies, they would not be able to stand there perfectly, always walking around in the waters. We find their fossils places where we don't find water. So that theory's way out of there, okay? But you guys, we got theropods from 10 to 100 tons. 200 tons. That could be 200,000 pounds. Now, you guys, the sauropods, like many dinosaurs, had lightweight bones and had air sacs like birds. The heaviest sauropod, we believe the Argentinosaurus, you guys, was from 60 to 100 tons, or 200,000 pounds. I would be crushed. Imagine a sauropod right here, and it just sat down. The ground would shake. We would be shaking like crazy. It would probably be like an earthquake, you guys. They are just massive, and we believe they had air sacs like birds. Now, they had hollow chambers inside their skeleton, and this connected with their lung system and how they're able to breathe, as there's always a constant flow of oxygen going into their lungs and into those air sacs in their bodies, you guys, and helping them be a little bit more lightweight, helping that oxygen go throughout their body, you guys, and is helping them grow to these massive, amazing sizes where they could still do everyday life. They're walking around, eating all kinds of food, drinking all kinds of water, meeting new sauropods, and doing all kinds of amazing things back in the Mesozoic era. So that is number one, their huge weight. They got to be so big. Legend number two, the fossil gap. This one is just amazing. Did they disappear? Did sauropods disappear? Now, you guys, you may have seen, sometimes when you look in all kinds of dinosaur books, you see sauropods of the Jurassic period. And then you don't really see any till the late Cretaceous period. And that's because, you guys, we have somewhat of this gap, okay? So, you guys, what happened was they vanished. They disappeared. Did they really disappear after the Jurassic period and then reappear, you guys, in the late Cretaceous period? Probably not. That probably didn't happen. But you guys, it could be a fossil record problem, okay? A problem in the fossil record. Now let me explain. They didn't disappear completely. There are fewer rock layers from that time in the regions of North America. So think of all kinds of fossils from the Jurassic period. We're getting all these sauropods from them in the North America here where I live. But then what happens in the Cretaceous period, we get fewer rock layers from these early times when possibly the sauropods were still here, but since we don't have their rock layers, we're not able to find their bones or their fossils as easily, okay? So you guys, they didn't disappear completely. There are fewer rock layers from that time in some regions of North America. And during the Jurassic period, there were lots of sauropods, but fewer fossils in the Cretaceous period. So this makes it look like they disappeared or they went extinct or they're gone, even if they weren't. Now, fewer fossils, you guys, made it appear that they had faded out. Now, some sauropods moved and changed. Now, in North America, sauropods became rare for a while, but in other parts of the world, like South America, they were still around and growing bigger and badder than ever, right? So you guys, we get a family group, the Titanosaurs, and they showed up big during the late Cretaceous period, and they have giants like the Argentinosaurus that we've talked about many times on today's podcast episode. Now, this proves that sauropods came back, or at least continued on strong, okay? So essentially, it's not that sauropods disappeared, it's that they went off the radar, and like dinosaurs, they're kind of playing hide and seek. We just haven't found all their hiding spots as of yet. So sauropods didn't disappear, they didn't go extinct and then come back. We just have a little bit of a break in the fossil record, making it a little bit more challenging to find sauropods in North America, which gives scientists early on this maybe that they weren't around, that they went extinct, but then how did they come back? The aliens brought them back, you guys. Nope, that did not happen. How would they even get up there on the spaceship? All right. Legend number 3, our last legend for today, and that is the lost genus. The lost genus. What happened to the Brontosaurus? I get asked this more than any other question when it comes to sauropod dinosaurs. I always have someone, usually a little bit older in the audience, that asks, hey, What is up with Apatosaurus brontosaurus? What is up with that? Now, let me mention, Apatosaurus was named in 1877. Brontosaurus was named in 1879, 2 years later. They're both named by O.C. Marsh. Apatosaurus is the deceptive lizard. Brontosaurus is the thunder lizard. Now, right now, this time frame, we are in the Bone Wars, okay? So we got the battle between O.C. Marsh and Edward Cope, which I believe is my podcast, possibly for next week or coming up. I know I'm going to do a podcast on the Bone Wars coming up. I actually think I'm going to do it. I'm doing a Patreon lesson on the Bone Wars in April, and then I'll probably come back and do a podcast here for you guys on KPG 66.5 Dinosaur Talk Radio. I don't think I have it next week. I think next week we're doing dinosaur eggs because it'll be the weekend of Easter. But anyways, you guys, back to the lost genus, okay? Apatosaurus brontosaurus. What happened? Essentially, long story short, or long tail short, the Apatosaurus and the Brontosaurus were named. They were put into museums, into pop culture. Brontosaurus, I believe, and I think a lot of people can agree, probably has a little bit of the cooler name. The Thunder Lizard, the Brontosaurus. Then what happened was, scientists thought these two are the same sauropod. Apatosaurus and Brontosaurus are the same dinosaur. And O.C. Marsh named it as if they were two different genus. So what happens in this case? The first one is grandfathered in. So the first one, Apatosaurus, which was named earlier, 2 years earlier, in 1877, was named first. So what happens? Brontosaurus, poof, disappears. I snapped my fingers, Brontosaurus disappeared, and we just have Apatosaurus. So it had been too long, it'd been too late after this had sort of been kind of worked out the kinks, okay? So what happens is Brontosaurus is already getting used in museums and in pop culture and movies and books and all kinds of dinosaur things that it's just way harder to snap our fingers and then it disappears from everything that's ever been created. So as it went through the decades, people kept thinking Brontosaurus is a dinosaur, when really it had been figured out, you guys, already, and that it should be disproven. And don't quote me on this, I should have put it in here. I don't think it was till the 60s, 70s, like 1970s, when it was kind of like thrown out of there, okay? So it wasn't like it was 10 years later after they were named that they decided, hey, those are the same two. Don't quote me, but, I believe it was almost in the early 1970s. So almost 100 years had gone by before they realized somewhat of the air. And by then, it had been in so much things, okay? So essentially, you guys, Brontosaurus is still here. It's just the Apatosaurus. And to make things a little bit more confusing, back in 2015, 2018, there's even been some work discussed that possibly Brontosaurus is its own dinosaur genus, and it might be coming back. So who knows? We will see as we find all kinds of more sauropods and all things like that. But you guys, that is our lesson on Legend of the Sauropods. Massive dinosaurs, you guys. Long necks, four-legged, those quadrupedal herbivores, you guys. Up to 50 to 60 feet high, or even up to 120 feet long. We got all kinds of amazing genus and some very good legends to go with it. But you guys, let's go ahead and move on to our prehistoric cage match of the evening. We are already 30 minutes deep into our podcast, and Dinosaur Ranger Anthony needs to get to Hitchcock Elementary to be able to teach PE to the students there today. So I got about 10 more minutes to rock and roll before I need to split out of here faster than a long neck, which actually wouldn't be very fast at all. Very slow creatures. Not as slow as Stegosaurus, but probably still pretty slow. And hey, could they really get on their back legs and reach up into the trees? Probably the smaller ones, but think of a Brachiosaurus like doing that. Now, with those air sacs, it probably would help, but it would still probably be a little bit challenging. But we'll say they do it. But you guys, let's move to our prehistoric cage match. You guys, we are going to pull up the random genus generator. We are going to spin the wheel, and we will see who we get today on our dinosaur battle. Here we go. Spin the wheel. Here it goes. It's spinning around, and we'll see what kind of creature we get for today. Ooh, we almost got chicken. Ooh, this one's okay. Concavinator. This one's a good theropod. We'll work with this one. The Concavinator. We will remove it from our genus list, and we will give it another spin. Now, it would be nice if we'd get some kind of long-necked dinosaur. Quetzalcoatlus. The Quetzalcoatlus. All right, we're going to play with it. We're going to do it today, okay? No turning back now, you guys. We are going to do this dinosaur battle for us today. Switch back to our camera-only version. All right, we've got pterosaur, we've got theropod, okay? Are you guys ready to enter into the arena? It is time to enter into our prehistoric cage match here momentarily. All right, here we go. Let's enter into the cage match, the PCM. Here we go, folks. We got a showdown for you today. We've got theropod meat eater, and we've got Quetzalcoatlus still eating meat just as much, okay? So our Concavinator is up to 20 feet long. 20 feet long, 6 feet high, 900 pounds, 2 elongated spines on its back, you guys. It is the Concavinator. Then we've got our Quetzalcoatlus. Where is our Quetzalcoatlus at for today? This one, a 36-foot wingspan. Its wingspan is bigger than the Concavinator as a whole. You guys, it's 18 feet high, 300 pounds, so not as heavy as the Concavinator, but it is the largest pterosaur to ever fly on our planet. They had no teeth, and they glided up there in the sky. 20-foot long Concavinator, 36-foot wingspan, you guys, of our Quetzalcoatlus, and it was 18 feet high. Where our Concavinator, what was it, 11? Concavinator. Where's it at? There it is. No, only 6 feet high. All right, you guys. This one's going to be pretty easy. So let's just say Quetzalcoatlus, you guys, it stayed down on ground level. Maybe it swooped on in, and it's flying around our Concavinator, and it's flapping its wings letting off such a big shadow down on the Concavinator. It thought maybe there was an asteroid up in the sky. Oh no, what is going to happen in this dinosaur battle? You guys, Quetzalcoatlus, it's got to win this one, right? Now, Concavinator might be able to rush in and try to get a few bites in with its teeth. But then our Quetzalcoatlus flaps its wings. It stirs up some of the dirt and dust from down in the arena as our Concavinator isn't able to see as easily. And our Quetzalcoatlus is just going to start pecking him. That's right, pecking him with that big beak, and then maybe thrusting him with those big wings as it kind of jumps around the Concavinator. The Concavinator is dazed and confused. It doesn't know what to do. It's just biting out there in the sky. Our Quetzalcoatlus flies up and lands on Concavinator's back and just starts poking it with that big beak, you guys. And at the end of the day, even though the theropod, you guys, has that somewhat semi-sail on its back, even though it's not a spinosaurid, you guys, I don't think it could match up against a pterosaur this size. A 36-foot wingspan. That's about the size of a school bus, whereas Concavinator is half the size of a school bus. So even though Quetzalcoatlus has no sharp teeth or anything, I think its size and its beak are going to be a true advantage for the Quetzalcoatlus. So at the end of the day, the winner for episode number 19 is not the Concavinator, is the Quetzalcoatlus. Boom. Quetzalcoatlus is our winner for today's episode of KPG 66.5 Dinosaur Talk Radio. So you guys, there we have it. Quetzalcoatlus, the pterosaur, our first pterosaur to win a cage match on our podcast, you guys, on KPG 66.5 Dinosaur Talk Radio against the Concavinator. Sorry, Concavinator. But you guys, let's go ahead and move into our closing thoughts before we log off for today. I want to thank you guys, each and every one of you, for tuning on in and listening to our podcast as we continue to slowly grow our channel. Slow, not like a Stegosaurus. It's been wild. Last week, you guys, my subscribers went up 100 subscribers within 24 hours. So anybody new listening today, whether it be live or later on, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure talking to you about all kinds of sauropod-type dinosaurs. My podcast, you guys, my laptop, I believe I haven't watched the playback yet, but from everything I did in my test yesterday, my laptop is just working wonders over my old MacBook. That thing was a dinosaur from 2015. This one is way nicer. I'm able to keep track of all kinds of things as we're rocking along. But you guys, what is your favorite sauropod type dinosaur? What long neck is your favorite? Now mine has to be, if I had to pick just one, I know he's probably used in pop culture more than any of them, and maybe that's a little bit of reason why, but the Brachiosaurus is definitely my favorite sauropod. I love its forehead, its nose up there on its forehead, the taller forehead. It just has a little bit more character than, say, the Apatosaurus, who it has somewhat of just kind of like a normal head. Brachiosaurus is just so much more unique. So my favorite, Brachiosaurus. Now, you guys, today, this weekend, I hope everybody has a dynamite weekend, and it's as big and great as a sauropod. Today, I have to go teach basketball, March Madness, with some students at Hitchcock Elementary today as I go be their PE teacher. And we're going to have tons of fun, even though Nebraska lost last night. Don't get me started. I will cry. The Huskers were winning the entire game, even up by 10 points a few times, and they let Iowa slowly creep back. It's just sad. How do you let a team take the lead with like 90 seconds left after you've been winning the entire game and then you lose by 6? It was very sad, but we're very proud of the Husker season. Getting better in basketball, getting better in all these sports besides football. Don't get me started. That's our sports show for today. Now, you guys, a quick joke before we go ahead and log off. I've got 3 minutes. Why are long-necked dinosaurs great at basketball? Why are long-necked dinosaurs great at basketball? Is it because they played for the Huskers? Probably not. Is it because, I don't know. Is it because they got good basketball shoes? They wear a pair of Jordans? I don't think so much either. Now, you guys, why are long-necked dinosaurs great at basketball? Because they're always above their competition. They're always above the competition. Their team is always better than anybody else. It's because they're better than their competition. Or maybe it's because they're above their competition, right? They're above them. They're always taller than the other dinosaurs. And that's our fun joke for today. But you guys, a quick plug before we go. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit that bell button, whichever way it is, so you get all kinds of notifications from me. Go to my Facebook page, Stomp Chomp Roar on Facebook, and you can see all kinds of fun posts I do here in my community. I just got my Jeep wrapped. I believe I mentioned that last week. So go see the pictures of my new dinosaur Jeep, the Stomp Chomp Roar Jeep. It looks so cool. Or even head to my website, stompchomproar.com. Learn a little bit more about me, what I do here in Omaha. And hey, maybe I can even do a private virtual lesson for you and your family, whether that be for a birthday party or even just for fun. You can check out all my packages at stompchomproar.com. But you guys, let's go ahead and move into our closing slogan for today as we log off for another amazing Friday as we talked about the legend of the sauropods. All right, you guys, now always remember, thanks to the dinosaurs for giving us this passion. But this is our world now, right? Did I miss it? I did show that to you. I already did. All right, I got confused. I almost forgot. I thought to show you guys a picture, but we did it, okay? Start over. Start from scratch. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Now, you guys always remember, thanks to the dinosaurs for giving us this passion. But this is our world now. Get out there, do something good, and never be afraid. Truly, never be afraid to show your claws. Dinosaur Ranger Anthony signing out. We'll see you guys next week.